So, as I said, welcome, welcome, welcome. It is a bright, sunny, but snowy Wednesday, this April 21st. Also happens to be my little daughter's 8th birthday. Makes me feel like an old woman. But needless to say, we are so happy to have you with us. I am here with my team today, as well as some special guests, and we're missing one. Sarah is going to bring back the sun and warmth. Hopefully, is taking a well-deserved vacation in Florida. But with me today, I have on the call other team members that you have grown to love as much as I do, I hope, and that is Lauren Palgett, Tina Hastings, and Marge Robeson. We also have some industry partners on today, and we thank you all for your attention and time. Today's topics are going to cover I think what we all know is going on. This landscape of school food service is like hard to keep our finger on the pulse, right? We are going to start in a different order than we normally do our What's Up with our special guests first. We have heard you. We have responded. Many of you are still filling out those crazy corrective actions for procurement. And so what we decided to do today was welcome our partners in procurement from HPS to shed a little light. So if you are purchasing through HPS, certainly will be very, very beneficial for you. If you aren't purchasing through HPS, still giving you kind of a roadmap and some guidance as to how to best prepare yourself to be, number one, doing compliant procurement, and number two, retaining documentation. You know, again, with everything that's going on this year, I feel like we're in the wild, wild west, and we all feel like we're shooting from the hip, but this is a federally funded program, and there are some key things that I believe our partners and our group purchasing organization can enlighten you all on today. So we are super excited to have Christine Sullivan, and a surprise, we even get Steve today, so I'm super pumped about that. Before, this beginning of this week, we thought we were just going to have a calm conversation about getting you all prepared for summer and using your inventory and featured recipe and some really good save the dates, because there are some really cool things coming. But guess what? You've heard this, and I am hot off the press. We were adjusting these slides like 3 minutes before we jumped on live with you, because it seems like that's how this information is being presented, but we are going to take it any way we can get it. One of the things we know is that the waivers have been extended through June 2022. So what that means is we can all celebrate the fact we can continue to feed kids, and we can continue to receive increased reimbursement, and do so in a way where we don't have to worry about free and reduced applications. Beyond that, it's as clear as mud right now. So we're going to go through some of this and we're going to fall on the sword. We are learning right along with you. What we do know is that ODE sent an email this morning and then sent a retraction and kind of an amendment. We do know a waiver is in place, and that Ohio is opting into it to continue to allow for this program, this free universal meal, to extend through June of 2022. What that means is next school year, we're back to doing what we've done this year, and that is figuring out how we are going to continue to increase participation, repair our budgets, work together to understand all the nuances and crazy loops of what the meal pattern looks like and what it doesn't look like. And what we can promise you, as ODE said here, number one, I know we have this fatigue, but jump on that email, read it, ask questions. We are asking questions on your behalf. Our goal really is to, number one, celebrate today this victory. Many of you who also attended Legislative Action Conference, you've done lobbying and petitioning for this to continue. You all look at your bottom lines and know that we still need time to heal. And we all are, let's just say, really thrilled that this is an opportunity we can help coach you through. Right now, we know some, but we will know more. And so clarity is going to be our friend over the course of the next month. And we certainly will be with you hand in hand, identifying ways that we can make this easier for you throughout this navigation process. So from Scott Lindbergh, ODE, we will say we reached out directly. Many of you did. Many of you are on social media channels that are providing feedback. Waivers that are in place that are now speaking to next year's effect will be effective July 1. So we're going to talk today about those of you who had already planned to do summer feeding and how that is a little bit different than all the new emails you're going to be seeing in terms of the effect the waivers will start for implementing next year's school feeding programs. So the response 86, all of these, the waiver rather, the 85 and 86 really do speak to a lot of what we will say sometimes confusing information about how we understand memo codes from USDA. One of the things we heard loud and clear from Scott Lindbergh is don't panic. help is on the way, information is on the way. So don't jump in and start changing applications. Many of us are reading, oh, I'm SFSP. Does that mean I have to jump on and change it to SSO? Hold tight. Guidance is forthcoming. The bigger celebration of the moment is that we have this ability to be thoughtful now and be ready for the fall. So I always say end with the beginning in mind, and we want to make you prepared, feel comfortable, and most importantly, continue to serve all of those wonderful students that we know are still in need, and families that would underemployment, unemployment, which would appreciate this benefit continuing. So with that being said, I am going to introduce our special guest, and we're going to get into the topics, and then we're going to close with some more information about next steps as it relates to planning for next year. So right now, I am going to hand it over to Christine Sullivan. So Christine, I will stop sharing and I'll allow you to share and provide us some information, and welcome. Thank you so much. And I know Steve's on as well. So just appreciate, if not anything else, I have always said it takes a village, and that we can't give good service unless we get good service. So we appreciate your willingness to join us today, and certainly would love some guidance. All of us have gone through at least one round of procurement audits. If some of us are still reeling in working through information on corrective action. So we'll hand it over to you for about 10-15 minutes to discuss some of the options that schools can look for HPS and helping navigate those waters. Thank you so much for joining us today. Hi, Steve. There he is. All right.
Steve, I'll let you start off and kind of give a general overview of what we're going to talk about and the basic process and how HPS works and the procurement process. And then I'm going to take over and take you through our website, where documents are, and give you a few examples. So take it away.
Thanks, Christine, and thank you to Marine and Masonic Partners for giving us this opportunity to present to what are a number of our members that are part of HPS, regardless, as Marine said, whether you utilize HPS as your group purchasing organization or co-op or not. The things that we are going to be helping bring to your attention are going to be applicable regardless. So I wanted to start by saying it is nice to see faces that I have not seen in quite some time. It is great to have a collaboration with a partnership with Marine and her team. So procurement. Actually, I'm going to back up 1 second. So I have someone that works with us in New England outside of the Boston market. And last weekend, she sent me pictures of all the snow that they had gotten. And I laughed and chuckled, and Karma came back. So I was able to send her pictures today of our wonderful Cleveland area spring snow that we all experienced. So Karma always comes back to bite. Procurement is a topic that everyone is always interested in, regardless of where you're at in a process, before, after, during. We all have questions because the mark changes quite often, and it's important to keep up on what those changes may be. So what we wanted to focus on is to be able to share with you where the onus comes into play as it pertains to you folks as food service directors or business officials when it comes to procurement. So first of all, we had met with the state, it was either 3 or 4 years ago, the HPS team shared with them all of our documents, what it looked like, how we go about the procurement process in representation of our membership. One of the things that they shared at that time, and because of that, this was a focus, ironically, for about 3 years ago for some of the lunch and learns that we had for our members. And that was, it's great that as a food service director and as a district, you're able to utilize a GPO or a co-op rather than going out and doing this process yourself. However, with that said, when you have the luxury of having someone like HPS or anyone else as your procurement, you need to still be aware of what that process involves and what they're doing in representation for you. So what they specifically called out a few years ago is that when the auditor, the person that's reviewing, sits down and they start talking about your procurement for food specifically and things that are associated with the department that you run, what they had seen and what they do not want to see is a response of we utilize, for example, HPS for that. That is not, in their opinion, and rightfully so, an acceptable response. As the food service director receiving the funds from the USDA through the state, it is incumbent on you to make sure that you have a basic understanding of what that comment means. So when you say HPS takes care of that for us, what does that actually mean? And do you understand what takes care of that for us actually represents? So there are some very rudimentary topics that we started sharing with our members, some points, talking points, if you will, that you would be able to have conversation, specifically getting into a little bit further understanding and prove to the person that's doing the audit what that HPS does that for us actually means. We had shared that with everyone. As I said, it's been like 3-4 years now. We plan on providing this over to Maureen. Christine will, and in a follow-up that can be sent out to you folks. I think that it will be helpful. One is a very down and dirty one-pager, and the other one, I believe, has 5 pages of information, but it does not get into the minutia of what we do, but it does give you a broad base of what we do. One of the things that I think that it's important for you to know is there's a couple different ways of procurement. One is what is referred to as a bid, and the other one is an RFP. The type of procurement that we do is an RFP, request for proposal. The other important thing that it is necessary for you to know, HPS or otherwise, is who makes those decisions. So even though I work for HPS, Christine does, and all the other 40 people that we employ, it is no one at HPS that is ultimately making the decision to utilize Gordon Food Service for our food distributor. We go through an extensive RFP process. Kevin Crampton, our Vice President of Contracts, as well as other members on his team, go and painfully go through all of the necessary steps. And we pride ourselves in following procurement to the letter of the law. And I really mean that through transparency and making sure that we are dotting the I's and crossing the T's. So we have different food service director, school district committees amongst and around our geography, up to and including Ohio. We formed that committee, I think, like 4 years ago now, prior to that, and that's because of the continued growth. Prior to that, we were piggybacked on Michigan. Some of the people that are on this call right now actually are part of the HPS Food Service Directors Committee. So when that RFP is put on and we receive the responses, there is a committee meeting for the actual award of the food program and who the distributor through HPS is going to be. They award by vote, and Gordon Food Service has earned that business for quite some time. It is not defaulted to them. One of the reasons that they continue to be awarded that business is because of the relationship between Gordon and HPS and the amount of volume that our HPS members do with Gordon Food Service. They continue to come to the table with aggressive pricing, and therefore they continue to be awarded the bid for our distribution for our RFP. So I think that the handouts that you folks are gonna see will be very useful. Christine, myself, one of our internal, and I always refer to Kathy Delamater at our HPS office as similar to a GFS inside salesperson. She's at the office. She also is part of member development or the sales team. She's also another resource that is knowledgeable about procurement. So if there are things that you need, any one of those individuals, as well as Kevin and Rennie at the office, can help assist you. We realize this can be a stressful time. It does not need to be. And we like to make sure that you are aware that you are not on an island. If you're utilizing HPS, there's a lot of support that is available to you. However, with that being said, we have recently tried to make it as turnkey as possible with the documents and the information to be readily available for you. So our communications department has recently done a lot of changes on our website, our member-facing website. Christine is going to get into this a little bit more in detail, but you are now able to go into the HPS member-facing side of the website, and she'll show you where you can access all of the necessary documents that the reviewer, the auditor, may be requesting. If there is something that you're not able to find there that they possibly ask for, that's where it comes into play with Christine or any of those other individuals. All you need to do is ask, and we will do everything that we need to get you that. There have been a couple occasions over the course of the past 5 years where they've asked for something and it's been realized that it was not included in our RFP. No big deal. We immediately then let them know that that will be added, and that's sort of a quote unquote, I guess, corrective action for us as a GPO. And that gets rectified very quickly so that the next time around they're aware that we've been made aware of it and that it is in the works. And we have not had any issues with any HPS member not being able to get through a review because of HPS being the representative for their procurement. There is another value-added tool that we have. We refer to it as CAT, or Contract Analysis Tool, as well as a ton of other information, very useful to you folks as a food service director. One of the things that you can also utilize this tool for, and it was designed initially for this at the request of our members, is you can see in a live report what you're purchasing during any period of time. It will tell you whether it is receiving HPS contract pricing, whether it is a fixed fee or a fixed price mechanism. You can also see that, by the way, through GFS Experience, but it allows you the opportunity, by the awareness of that information, to know if you are fully maximizing the program that you're part of. And it will allow you through that program, as well as through the GFS ordering platform, to identify potential other items that are similar or like what you're using, to be able to move over to an HPS bid item and get that extra pricing as well. We're very proud of the fact that we have around 2,800 items on our bid, by far the most that we're aware of, and it gives you that flexibility to order the products that you want to order while still getting the bid pricing and the contract protection. So I think that is what I wanted to just give as a general broad-based overview of procurement and how we can assist you. And I will turn it over to Christine.
Thanks, Steve. Everyone, just don't know that as soon as I present this, you don't have to be an expert at it. So please reach out if you have any questions, if you need anything. But I'm just going to basically go through the HPS website very quickly. So our website is hpsgpo.com. So as soon as you type that in, as this has been rolling through here, you would just go up to the upper right-hand corner to member login and go to the HPS member site.
Christine?
Yep.
Would you like to share your screen so they can see what you're demonstrating?
Well, I thought that I did, but of course not. Let's share. Is it sharing?
Not seeing it yet.
Stop sharing. I'm wondering why it's, okay, hang on, let's try again.
It might be your tab. Remember?
All right, found it. All right, let's go there.
Yay, I'm seeing it. Better?
Yay.
All right, there it is. Thank you. So going into the hpsgpo.com and then going up here to the right-hand side to member login into the HPS member site. So as soon as you type in that, any of this information that is pre-populated, if you have never been in here before, and even if you don't know, don't hesitate to reach out to us, but go ahead and get rid of any pre-populated information in here and go down to register for an account at the bottom. And once you hit that, like I said, take all this pre-populated information out here, put your first and last name. Your email address is going to be your login username.
Christine, I'm going to stop you one more time. We're still seeing just the member-only, the member-owned website. So, there
okay,
you
I
go.
see.
Yep.
Okay, it went over to a different tab, so I'll have to watch that.
Yep.
So once you put in your first name and last name, put in the email address for your username, and then your password and confirm it. The access code is actually a code that's given to each one of your school districts that HPS gives you. So if you have some extra or old or newer business review forms that have either been sent to you in the past year or when we have been in to do a business review with you, on that first bunch of paperwork that says business review, there's actually a specific access code just for your school district. And so that's where that code would go. Usually it's a 6-digit letter or numbers. And so you would put that in there. If you cannot find it, don't hesitate to reach out to any of us, like Steve said, Steve, myself, or Kathy, or anybody in the HPS office, and we'll get that for you. And once then you go down and then you submit this and you register for an account, you will get a link that will go into your email address, and that's how you'll get that link to go into our system. And we do have a very secure site, so we always have this recapture that's going to take you even further in. So after you're in here, you'll probably see my picture or Kathy or Catherine Geiser, who is in the Southern Ohio market, if that's your sales rep for HPS. But this will be basically your opening screen for HPS GPO. Up here in the menus, the 3 little hashtags up at the upper right-hand corner, when you go into here, when Steve was talking about this CAT tool, this contract analysis tool, that's where you can log in through here under member login. But for your procurement documents, it is a value-added service that is part of HPS. And so you will hit that arrow down. And when you go down underneath that folder, procurement documents are in there. And all of our procurement documents that we have available since 2014 are in here for each of the past school years. So if you're being audited or the reviewer is in and looking for something specific, you know where to go, and you could go into the specific school year and look for those documents. A lot of everyone that's been reaching out lately in all of Ohio they've opened up the 17-18 school year again. So those documents, oops, can you see? Those documents are in there. There we go. So once we go in there, we're under the 400 contract for Ohio, Pennsylvania, and West Virginia. And so you would hit that, and it looks like a lot of information. It looks like a lot of information, but just go through it knowing that your tabs and your file tree is over here on the left-hand side. And as you go through here, one thing that we wanted to check and let everybody know, especially at HPS, we have been hearing a lot of the auditors and reviewers have been asking to make sure that you have a procurement plan. And under that procurement plan, whether it's the HPS, when Steve was talking about that 5-page, just so you have a general overview of what HPS does for the school districts, you can print this off, you can save it, or you know where it's at under procurement plan for each of the school years, and you can just have that on hand. And that's something that you can have available and print off.
Can you just, Christine, can you just open that real quick?
Sure, definitely can.
Thank you. There you go.
So like this is a 5-page and it just goes through and basically talks about what the process is in general. It does not go into any, big, but it talks about the RFP that Steve was talking about and how we do that.
Thank you. So that's one of the 5 that, just so that you have it front and center, that we'll send back in a follow-up email. Thanks, Christine.
Not a problem. So the other thing, that is the procurement template for HPS, but this one, each school district that we've been hearing from the auditors is supposed to have their own procurement plan. And so HPS has went in and designed and created this generalized document that you guys can use as a template to go in and put your school name at the letterhead and can fill this out, and is a basic plan that what you can show the auditors and what you're doing. So like in the first, where the red is where you would put whoever that title person, whether it's the food service director or if it's the cafeteria manager, whatever the title is, or even if it's maybe your treasurer at your school. Who will be responsible to document the amounts to be purchased. So this is a plan that the auditors are looking for. So you can cut and paste and use this document as little or as much or all of it that you see fit in each one of your schools, and you can print and download that. So we would highly recommend that, because that is something that they're asking for. And so all of the, as you hit these arrows, go back, all of the information is in here. And as you open up each one of these tabs, there's a lot of documents in each one that can help answer the questions that they may be looking to answer. The one that has been, at least the top one that they've been asking for in that 17-18 school year, has been the Gordon Food Service solicitation document. So they're actually looking for the signed original document that Gordon Food Service signed with HPS, and they also were looking for the procurement plan. So we would go into the procurement plan and open that file, and then go down here to number 3. And that's
so
going to open up.
A question got posted in the box, and so I'm going to pause here for a second. These are PDFs. The question is, are these amended? Can you amend them, right? Or can they come in a non-PDF format so that they're editable? And I think that's a great question. But I do want to respect everybody's time. So if we can just wrap up and move forward, we'll send more instructions in a follow-up email so that we can get through the content and make sure everybody has all the links they need.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. So there is a lot of information, and like we said, we'll send that over to Maureen. So thank you, Maureen. I'll stop sharing my screen.
Perfect. And so I will, Jan, thank you for the great question. Yes, we all want something that's editable, and we will follow up with information so that you can definitely be, our goal is to make your life easier, right? And so one of the things that we want to be able to do is provide turnkey resources. And so, I know we're going to jump back into our agenda with all the thanks to HPS for joining us and providing us those clickable resources to make your job easier. Steve, I know you have to jump off. off. We appreciate your time. Don't forget, even though we can't all meet together in person, there is going to be a lunch and learn in May for HPS. So for more information, more questions pertinent to that contract, please look for that as a save the date. So getting back into our conversation today, so many of us have already had conversations about wanting to do summer feeding because prior to this week, we already knew there was an extension to the existing waivers through September that would allow us to do that. So these next sets of slides are going to help you kind of just think about that. And really, again, our goal is to make things clearer for you as more information is made readily available about the clarifying guidance for the fall programming. So for summer, we want to make sure you are aware, for those of you that have fed previously and that are new to the feeding program, there are the waivers in place to serve free meals. They do continue to offer you flexibility for meal time, for group feeding, for parent pickup, and also meal pattern waivers. This waiver extends to those of you who are currently in as an application for SSO. But if you are at SFSP, which we love because we know that we get some good reimbursements there, you will have to follow the SFSP waiver, the meal patterns rather. So don't freak, right? We have Healthy Meal Planner Pro for the most of you on this call, and for those of you who aren't, meal planner guidance is readily available to be able to submit a menu calendar for summer that's going to meet those guidelines. And again, there are flexibilities, so it's going to be an easy venture. I encourage all of you to consider what we know historically and kind of refresh your teams, yourself, those serving, perhaps anyone who might be a substitute worker to your summer program or a new worker. If you've never done summer feeding before, know that professional development is at your fingertips with our team and also on the web. These next sets of slides are just kind of some reminders. In general, making a reimbursable meal and what that looks like for the summer food service breakfast pattern here, lunch pattern here. So again, dusting off the meal patterns, making sure you do a little training with your staff that will be implementing those programs is our recommendation. Having us in on maybe some of your final preparations for your menu for summer and doing some training, also an option, just to make sure with all of the alphabet soup in our acronyms and on our waivers that are going through our minds that we are making sure we've done our due diligence and we are compliant with the summer pattern as it would be. Again, so SSO has the waivers, SFSP, these are the guidance that we would provide. So if you haven't considered this, obviously the options, there are some differences in the funding. As I alluded to at the beginning of this, right now, I would recommend you reach out to your ODE specialist. If you are currently in existence as an SSO, that carries through. And again, you have the waivers, you have the reimbursement. If you are SFSP, this is the reimbursement, and then you will be using traditional meal patterns. And again, this was what we knew last week before our world turned a little bit, again, upside down, but in a good way. And so we want to make sure that you know your options, and also the devil is in the details, right? So ask a friend, phone a friend, we will help you plan. The $1 million question is, what does this mean and where do we go from here? And so again, May, the third week in May will be our technically last live What's Up Wednesday of this COVID school calendar year. And our goal will be to scour and condense and explain all of the nuances as it relates to ending with the beginning in mind, which means we've always talked about looking at ways to prepare ourselves so we can all have a summer of it, relax a little bit, take a deep breath, and be able to come back in August sharp and ready and focused and energized, innovate, and to achieve good participation and program goals. So I'm going to pass it over to one of our team members who is, again, probably, I'll call her the expert in this because she is boots on the ground. So Tina is going to talk to you a little bit about what we can do now to set ourselves up for success, not only if you are going to feed this summer, but also as we prepare to think about what fall is going to bring us. So Tina, I'll hand it over to you.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Again, inventory management. I mean, this is like the key thing we're all looking at right now, especially with end of the school years. If you're not doing summer feeding, definitely something you want to be looking into. We have 4, 5, 6 weeks possibly at the most left to school. Inventory management is definitely our kitchen's best friend. I mean, we need to know what we have at all times. I'm an anal crazy person, so you know, to me, I need to know what's in my cupboard, what's in my fridge at all times. And again, it is definitely a benefit. It helps to increase our productivity because we know what we're in there. We're able to move faster. We're able to get the products out of the, you know, cooler, freezer, whatever you need quicker. What do you have? Knowing what you have, what do I need? I know old school sometimes, you know, it was, hey, this is on my menu, I'm going to order it no matter what. And by the end of the school year, you got 50 boxes of chicken, popcorn chicken sitting there. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? So definitely, you know, paying attention to your inventory is a great thing to start thinking about with the end of the school year coming up. Next slide is, we've been doing this monthly. You know, we, you know, try to keep our inventory on a monthly. Now we're down to the nitty gritty. Let's look at it weekly. What do we have in there? What do we have? How am I going to use it? When am I going to use it? Is it, you know, one of those items, you know, we have 3 days left at the end of the school year. Do you not want to be using your ovens? You know, do you want your girls to start cleaning, thinking about stuff? So, hey, let's use all of our turkey that we have in there, make some deli sandwiches, make our chicken salad, use those items that maybe don't have to turn your items on, your ovens on at the very end of the last few days of school. Think about what we can use. Do I have extra pulled chicken in there I can replace my, you know, diced chicken with just to get rid of it? What do you want to, why do we want very important, why we don't want inventory left over the summer, especially if you're not in the buildings. What if your freezers go down, if your cooler goes down? I know we've all been there. I think I know I was the first year I came in. Cooler went down over the summer because it was an outside freezer. And luckily I wasn't the one that was there beforehand, but there was like $12,000 worth of food we lost. So you want to make sure your freezers are up and going. So if there's nothing in there, very good. Infestations, we know we're going to have little rodents going around in the summer. And if we're not in those kitchens, who's there to stop them? Items go missing, have to say, summer, I hate to say it, but it does happen. Items go missing when we have them sitting in the kitchen. And the longer they sit, the less quality it is. So you don't want that stuff sitting over in your coolers and your freezers or on the shelves till the next school year. Standardized recipes. Remember, sticking to our recipes is very important, that you do have the items that are there. It does help when you're making plan in your menus. It controls our cost. It helps our inventory. This is a benefit. When we do our menus and we stick to it, it helps our inventory go down. We don't have any little surprise items that we find in the freezer because, oops, we ordered the wrong thing. However, we have to remember when we do our things, even though we try to be creative, add a little extra spices, we can't use salt, sugars, oils, fats. All these alter your nutritional guidelines. So you want to make sure you're aware of that when you're sticking to your recipes. Cook's choice. I mean, that was something that I know I always, when I seen that menu, it said cook's choice. Why not try and think of something different? You know, we've changed so much this past year. Come up with a new theme. Ask your students, come down with students' choice at those last few days, you know, we're trying to clean out. Find out what we have, come up with a theme. We got a lot of hot dogs and burgers, do a baseball theme, do a country picnic, you know, just come up with themes to use it rather than cook's choice. And we've come across some creative solutions on different things that we find. Chicken and waffles. I mean, every kid's favorite. Well, you know, some of us have gotten those waivers where you don't have to abide by your whole grains this year. What a neat idea to get a waffle cone and put your popcorn chicken in your waffle cone. Now, that's kind of a neat thing the kids would like to see. Put your chicken sticks in there and it's a chicken and a waffle and an ice cream cone. So something kind of different and you're able to use it. You have those 1 bags of popcorn chicken, 1 bag of steak in there, wrap it up. Think of different things. Go to your Asian chicken. You know, you have 1 bag of Asian chicken in your freezer. Add some shredded carrots, peppers. Now you have an Asian wrap. You know, same with your Philly cheesesteak, Italian meats. Do your breakfast. You got a lot of scrambled eggs, scramble it up, throw some peppers and onions in there, and we now have a breakfast burrito. And you only have 1 bag that's left, so you're getting rid of it. Think about your base, you know, your greens, your grains, and your good eats. Pick a base. You know, we have our rice, our lettuce, tortilla chips, pastas. These are kind of a base you're going to do. Add that little extra topping to it. I got some frozen broccoli in there. I got some frozen corn. I got a lot of black beans. Let the kids do it. Set it up on your bar. Let the kids pick what they want. toss a little sauce in there, do a little diced chicken with barbecue sauce and, you know, shredded cheese, throw it over, you know, a bed of lettuce. And I mean, all different things can be made. And the kids get to pick their own choices. So it's a benefit for them and you'll get participation higher. And a pizza party. This is always my favorite thing. I love making the pizzas. Philly cheesesteaks. When we would do the Philly cheesesteaks, I'd have a bag of peppers, you know, get ready to go. I throw it out. I would have staff members at the board office when they knew we were doing Philly cheesesteaks, they'd call and order the whole pizza. You know, so these are all different little things you can do. Do a loaded baked potato pizza. Go look on your pizza menus and see what's out there. And these are ways to get rid of those little individual items that you have that you don't know what to do with. And antipasta salads. You know, we think about this, you know, especially people who are doing boar's head and you have that expensive, you know, that kind of expensive meat sitting there. Chop up your, you know, I call them the butts, the little ends of your loaves of meat, you know, chop it up. Same with your cheeses, chop it up, put it together. We always have celery, peppers, carrots, olives. Make them together, make an antipasta salad with them. And the kids will love it. And it's all stuff you have. It's everything that's on your items. They're on your menus. So it's, you know, simple to do. And it's a way to utilize those items without losing the cost that we put into it.
I love those ideas, Tina. And I will say, you know, for us, Cook's Choice, sometimes kids think it's like all the leftovers and all the not so good pieces, or they think they're getting served something. When you come up with these creative ideas and these creative options, you're really going to move the needle on them wanting to participate, right? And so my father-in-law jokingly says after a holiday, I always turn the leftovers into a feast. He uses a bad word, but I won't say it. But he says I turn into a banquet. And so you too can turn this into a banquet and a bar concept that will make your kids happy and excited. Tune into the creativity of your staff, all that fun stuff. So I am thankful for your tips. Again, these will be made available, and anyone who wants us to help think of creative theme-based strategies and modify so that your parents can see it, don't forget the missing piece. Sing your story loud and clear. Let them see Meal Planner Pro sing out what you're doing. So I'm going to pass it over to Lauren, our team member. She is, again, not her comfort zone, but pinch hitting for Sarah, who is normally our safety queen. But Lauren, take it away.
Awesome. So obviously, if you know the Pasonic Partners, you know that we love the creative solutions, but we want to make sure that we are serving everything in a safe way and the kids aren't getting sick. So as we look towards summer feeding, some things to kind of keep in mind. So if you are going to be utilizing tilt or time in lieu of temperature, you definitely want to make sure that you're reaching out to your local health department and getting any of your standard operating procedures or your HACCP plans updated per their guidelines. Again, some may be a little bit more flexible than others, but we really want to make sure that, you know, if we're going to be not hot or cold holding any food, we want to make sure we have the proper plans in place to do that. The other thing to keep in mind is, you know, I know talking to some of the schools that I work with and the employees in those kitchens, a lot of folks are burnt out, right? They are anxiously awaiting this summer break more so than ever before. And so it is a little bit difficult to find staff to work this summer. That said, your district or some other districts that we work with might be putting out job openings for new staff to come in. Now, we obviously welcome any new staff who want to work in our kitchens, but we really want to make sure that they are equipped with the proper training and tools to serve food safely. So again, we offer ServeSafe through Sarah and our team at Pasonic Partners, but certainly you can always contact ServeSafe directly and make sure that that staff is getting trained, even with the basic person in charge training, just so they have the basic understanding and general concepts down when it comes to food safety. Now, onto the fun stuff. That was a pretty quick little food safety. I think I can handle that one slide. But onto the fun featured recipes we want to highlight for you folks. So you've heard us mention it several times. We're really excited about this new resource that we've developed. It's the My School Menus Back of the House resource. So again, if you're not familiar, really we're just highlighting a lot of, you know, ethnic cuisine, global on trend flavors, and then certainly some fresh and flavorful options. But we wanted to make sure that we are supplying you with some recipe inspiration this summer as well, since many of you are going to be feeding kids during the summer, and maybe that's something new for you and your district. So, our team's been working diligently to prepare these nice resources for June, July, and then into August as well, starting for next school year. So some of the trends that we're seeing, again, we want to make sure we have fresh, flavorful options that are going to feature some local cuisine as well. I don't know if anybody was able to watch the Land O'Lakes, food webinar a couple of weeks ago, but they were talking about some Korean influence and inspiration. So we were certainly trying to draw from that as well. We're always pushing for some veggie-centric options. And then certainly with it being a summer feeding format, we want to have some on-the-go options as well. So not necessarily that individually wrapped that a lot of folks have turned to this past year, but making sure that we have food that's going to either, hold well in transport, or if you have kids that are coming in to pick up that food, they can eat it on their way back home. Some other recipes that we're really excited about. So we were excited to partner with the American Dairy Association and really kind of work to get some of the recipes that they had developed, get them vetted in our schools. So there were 6 different recipes that we tried. Again, one of the good things about Pasonic Partners is we have different reach in, urban environments, rural environments, and then some suburban environments as well. So we really got to kind of cover the gamut and see what recipes work across the board. So these are the 4 that we decided to kind of move forward with. And again, you'll see these on our My School Menus back of the house resource as well. So you'll have the opportunity to try these for your students. So some of these, we have a pizza pizzazz pasta salad. We also have a caprese chicken wrap. That was my personal favorite. We did a strawberry shortcake parfait. So the recipe is written to include pancakes layered with yogurt and fresh strawberries, but you can certainly use a commodity biscuit as well if you want to be a little more cost savings. And then we also have a cheesy nacho bowl as well. So again, some twists on some classic favorites, but again, really fresh, good recipes that focus dairy as that main ingredient. And then help us help you. So we have made this call, made this cry several times in the past. We want to make sure that you are set up for success before you even leave for summer, right? We want you to enjoy that time off if you're lucky enough to get some in the summer, and make sure that you get your fall menus ready to go before you leave and head to Florida or wherever else you're heading to. So again, we know that there are a lot of transitions coming out of waivers that are being extended, but we do know that, USDA and ODE are supporting us in feeding kids next year, right? That's the bottom line. So again, think how wonderful it would be if you are able to get all of your menus written now, knowing that what waivers and flexibilities we have in place, and be ready to go first thing in August when we get back to school. So if you are wanting to kind of start working towards this, definitely reach out to your lead dietitian or put in support tickets if you already have your menus written, and we can get those started ahead of time for you. So that way there's no crunch time come August. Now, we always like to highlight some caught doing something good moments and give some shout outs when necessary. So we're really excited. Tomorrow is actually Earth Day, for those of you that don't know. So our partners at Dogo's have done these really cool tie-dye cookies. Forgive me, I don't remember what they use to dye them, but it's always some type of natural ingredient, whether it's a vegetable or something else that they're finding that's very creative, to avoid using those different dyes. So they have their Earth Day cookie. We also want to give a shout out to our partners and our friends at Brecksville Broadview Heights City Schools. They are always like championing really creative menu names, and just they can take any plain old school K-12 menu and put a really awesome twist on it. I think my personal favorite that I've ever seen was their President's Day menu. They have like George Washington apples that they've done in the past, but they did not disappoint with their Earth Day menu as well. But they actually took it one step further and really wanted to make it a local takeover day. So as you can see on there, they have a ton of different local options that you may have seen us highlight or talk about in the past. So they're really just doing an awesome job getting those kids engaged in their menu and their cafeteria environment. Going green still, we're kind of obviously big fans of sustainability with Pasonic Partners, but really keeping in touch with Earth Day. Thinking about reusable containers. I think this has kind of always been a pipe dream for Pasonic Partners. We've tossed around the idea of using mason jars for shaker salads. For those of us that are fortunate enough to have, a full operational dish machine, it's certainly something that's always been in the back of our head. But we're actually seeing some schools. This was piloted on the East Coast, and we found out about this through our friends at Joshin, that they're using reusable containers. So again, that initial investment might be pretty lofty, but over time, think of how much styrofoam you could be saving just by using these reusable containers and washing them. So if that's something that you think your staff or your school would be able to do, definitely let us know and we'll connect you with the right folks. And then lastly, we are giving a shout out to our folks in Parma again. So we worked pretty closely with them early in the spring, late winter to do a virtual nutrition series. So it was about 4 consecutive Mondays, and we did some different training with them to really, engage with their staff and understand, why we do what we do, why nutrition is important for kids, and then how we can be a little more effective in our program operations. And they're taking it one step further. So they're actually going to be doing a professional development training, they're going to be doing an out-of-box training. So we'll be zooming in, as we've talked about before. The staff is going to be preparing the cilantro lime coleslaw on site. And then they're actually going to be scaling it up to a couple hundred servings and serving it to their staff, who will also be in the district that day. So that way everyone in the district will get to see what the cafeteria staff's doing. And they're also going to be doing a health and wellness fair in May as well for their 300 some employees to participate in. So they are really, hitting health on all fronts out in Parma.
I love that. Thank you, Lauren, for taking it through. I'm going to do just an add-on to the Caught Doing Something Good, because I think we're all sisters and brothers in this family of school food service. And just one extension of that personally, in COVID, we've all been absolutely nuts. We know this, including moms, right? So I am, I'll put on my mom hat. Thank you, Kim. Yes, I'm a mom of a second grader. And I couldn't take a birthday treat to her today because of the fact that they don't allow volunteers and outside food. But when you know somebody, you phone a friend. And so Miss Cindy, I have to say thank you. I don't think she's on this call because she's probably still busy, but she made and took Dogo's birthday cake cookies to my Addison second grade classroom at Brecksville. And certainly when I know about our profession is that we all go that extra mile for one another. And so I just wanted to personally thank her publicly, to say thank you for everything that you do for my daughter. And I want all of us, as we think through all of this great Caught Doing Something Good and recipe inspiration, to know how important you are for somebody's kiddo, right? And what you do makes a difference. And I know, we love to celebrate everything. So please keep sharing your good stories, keep sharing your hard stories. I know poor Diana Hills, we talk about a freezer going out. I think she dealt with that today on a April snow day. So Diana, hang in there. We're all in this together. We all support each other. And in ways, I think that the COVID silver lining will continue. These next opportunities, one of the things that we are going to continue to do is engage in as much free continuing education for all of you and with partners. So we have a couple set up right away. Tomorrow, we will be a part of the K-12 Connect. Many of you have done this before. We all miss Tom McIntyre, but maybe he'll pop on. He'll be the surprise guest. There is going to be a virtual K-12 Connect. And what I'm happy to say is that we will be in partnership with the Bell Institute and Chef Monica to be able to provide more inspiration along the lines of our recipe set. So again, Harvest of the Month ideas, Simply Fresh. I think one of our near and dear projects we're working on are ethnically and culturally sensitive and culturally diverse recipe sets, as well as keeping it real. We know our menus have to gain participation. So that whole idea of what are the comfort classics and what we can do. So that's tomorrow. I know they're sending out blast emails. I'm sure my team can put it in the chat. And again, we'll follow up an email. If you haven't registered, please, again, take advantage of everything free and available. The other person and group that, again, we love to partner with because of their generosity to our group is the American Dairy Association Mideast. And once again, they are offering some free equipment dollars to help jumpstart a smoothie kit program. So if you are interested, Jan Diamond, of course, is our regional girlfriend in this partnership, and she is ready to accept applications. Note the time sensitivity. They do close April 28th. Again, if you have any information about the idea of completing this and you want us to help you, Pasonic, just call us. We'll help you fill it out. It's not a rough application between Jan and us. If you want this money, if you want a smoothie program, we want you to have it. Let us help you. I did see a little conversation piece that the K-12 Connect, I forgot, has these great Pasonic picks, kind of a box idea. And so if you signed up, they're bringing sample boxes. And I thank you, Gina, for pointing that out. We're going to continue to try to do that. As we are still in this hybrid mode of getting together and not getting together, don't forget to reach out and ask for those vendors and brokers and partners in distribution who are very willing to send things to you so you can actually see, touch, taste, try day with your kiddos. I will also say COVID silver lining, my favorite. I've said this all throughout the year. Jen McNeil, I call her my soul sister on the West Coast, is hosting a community call on May 6th. Lauren, if you can drop that into the chat. There is a link to register, and it is a Zoom meeting. She also, I call her, she sparks joy in me, and she used this gift, Marie Kondo, you know, the person that organizes all your closets and cabinets. She has this masterful way of taking all of the memo codes and putting them into a very distinct format that's very usable. So I will be working with her and sharing that information, but certainly she is going to be having a community call May 6th, and I would encourage you all, free CEUs, again, free, jump on, more information about how to navigate the changing landscape, the language of the memo codes, all of that great stuff, and a panel. Little sneak insight, they will also be featuring the CDC and members of the CDC who are continuing to evolve the guidance that is posted out. Now, if you've looked at the restart planning and the local Board of Health, they're often pointing to the CDC's website with all of the new and updating information about how to keep your building safe, your kiddos safe, your staff safe, and they have great ready resources and checklists. So just like HPS started this off with, we want to hand you all of the links and tools where you're going to be able to click and play to create your integrity plan, to make sure you're analyzed and ready to rock and roll, and you're ready to go forward, not only in compliance, but in a little more zen of a mode. Speaking of that, this series, again, free CEUs, link here, partners with Healthy Pro and Pasonic. We will take your team through a deep dive. We call it like jumping on, you know, all of us, unfortunately, the silver lining of COVID is many, but also the perhaps pounds we've all, maybe I'll say me, have gained over the course of this COVID pandemic. We want to try to work this out a little bit. And so some of what we're doing here is obviously a spoof on getting your program financially fit so that we can help you help yourself with a budget and a plan for strategy and success. So this link is going to take you to a series. What I like about this is we've chunked the information into 15-bit segments. So you will get CEUs. They will all 6, I believe, episodes will total up for over an hour of free continuing education. But I think what I like about the 15 minutes is it's helping you think through your process, and it's going to give you some to-do lists and some call to actions to really get you analyzing your KPI, your key performance indicators, understanding why, the what, the when. And one of my favorite things, and I believe she's still on the call, I hope, is my girlfriend helped us. So again, thanks to Cindy, thanks to Jen. You know, we call on her for so much because she has always been such an innovator in our industry and a leader. And we are using Jen's example. So the financial fitness is going to help you get the most return on your investment. If you are a Healthy Pro client, this is going to show you why it's so beneficial if you can get yourself to get your production records in electronically. The production record, these are some words of wisdom that you will hear Jen kind of collaborate with us, the team at Healthy Pro and the team at Pasonic Partners, in these 15-minute excerpts of how she actually took the journey with her staff. And yes, it's possible. Yes, it is possible, even with people that don't like the computer, to get production records online. And I just wanted to highlight just a couple of the things that she said about the effort. And that was, it is such an asset to her department. And she has been using it, and, you know, not to shoot in the dark in a year where we all felt like we had blinders on, right? And so it is a one-click resource. Right now, as we say, hey, use up your inventory, and what do the kids like? How can we plan a high-performing menu? There's a lot of discussion, but this tool actually tells you and gives you the data. And so it allows you to reinforce what you're hearing at your kitchen managers and your cooks saying, oh, they like this. It's going to show menu popularity. It's going to show a matrix to really help you maximize not only your return on participation investment, but your profit margins, and really helping you create that cycle menu that's going to lead your program back in strategic success, right? Allowing also confidence. I think we all need to build our confidence back in this year. And I think this tool is, again, another helpful resource. That picture was taken pre-COVID, but I sure can't wait to go out again with all of my girls. That was at Javasti Winery, and we owe each other that. Jen, I owe you that for doing this presentation with us. So we are right up to the butt of time. I want to respect everybody's hour. Hopefully it was an hour of power. Again, do not have fear. We are in this together, and we are stronger together, right? So we will be continuing to help navigate all of the communications regarding the upcoming waiver extensions for school year 2021-22. And we know we want to be proactive in your success and also relieve some of your stress, right? So let's end this conference today, webinar really quickly with any questions or thoughts. I'll let you take yourself off mute, please, or type it into the chat. I know we have many folks on with us, and just want to, again, extend our appreciation to all of you for your continued interest in what we do, and we hope it brings value to your team, and certainly a companionship along the way here, the road. So Marsha, I see your lovely face as always. Thank you for joining us. We have some of our team here. Any questions, Lauren? Do you see anything in the chat? I saw a lot of conversation, but just making sure all's well.
No, everything. It looks like we addressed any of the questions that came through. And then just a reminder, and I think this was mentioned a couple times, everyone will get a follow-up email tomorrow morning. So if you missed any of the signups or the forms that came through the chat box, we'll have all of that in addition to any of the documents from HPS as well. So just stay tuned for that. You will have all of that in your inbox tomorrow morning.
Okay. Well, today's, it's a good day to have a good day. And so knowing that we have some financial answers is awesome. And knowing that we're all together to support success, I think I couldn't be in a better position. And just thank you for allowing us to be a part of your team. We are here for you. Reach out. Do not fret. And we will forge ahead onward with courage. Thank you all. Have a great rest of your day.